This episode is brought to you by regret and bad choices.
Are you ready?
Starting now?
Well, now you just messed it up, you knob. God, you know that the shit that we go through for this, huh?
I know. Fuckers better appreciate it. When we started, we were just like, yeah, we're just going to do this, man. You know, shoot our wad into the wind and see what happens. What's the title of this podcast again?
I don't know. Objects, I don't know. Something with a penis, I guess.
Right.
Our fucking faces are everywhere now.
Right.
You know, but
You're welcome, ladies.
Right. Popular with the ladies. Right. Oh, I'm not even going to apologize because hopefully it sounds fucking hilarious.
Yeah, totally. This is fucking explicit now.
The explicit button. Let me use my finger.
It is time for another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And that episode starts now. All right, everyone. Welcome once again to another episode of Sober, Not Mature, and happy Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know for you guys that are listening, it could be Saturday the 14th or Sunday the 15th or blah, blah, blah. But
right.
We, because it's all about us.
Right. We're living in the now, man.
Yeah, man. We are recording on Friday the 13th. So,
we are.
Quick question for you, Mike.
Yes.
Any plans? I know you had a rough day, long weekend, that sort of thing. Any plans to throw on your hockey mask, go out, murderous rampage on co-eds tonight? I just don't know. You know,
no, I left cookies out for Jason last night. And that was about the extent of my celebrating.
Yeah, I always love that meme. Make sure to leave milk and cookies out for Jason. And
right.
Like this, I saw one today. And he's sitting there kind of looking at it. You know, I mean, of course the mask on, but you can tell he's just looking at it and go, what the fuck, man?
Right.
Fucking cookies. But
So,
yeah. And, it ran across my head a little bit ago, but we can talk about it later. But superstition, and I was just kind of, let's set that as a side note topic. I'm going to make a note.
All right.
I'm just curious about that. So, superstition? I'm not superstitious, but I'm kind of stitious. Hello. That's
just mildly stitious.
Just a little bit. It's just a little stitious. But yeah, so I know you had, it sounds like you had a day, had a week. I had a kind of a long one, but I didn't have to work over today, so it sounds like you did, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it wasn't Wednesday, I think it was. Not that anybody cares, but yeah, I didn't get home until like 8:45.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a fun day. That was a nice, 14-hour day at work, plus, the time before and after and blah, 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 whatever.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's the one thing. Well, for years. I mean, especially when I first moved back to Wisconsin, and then we had that office down in Beloit when I lived in Jefferson, and when they took away the budget basically for hotel stays, and I was doing a lot of training down there, so sometimes 5 days a week, and it was an hour,
right.
hour down, hour back, and I had to be there, at like not had to, but in order for me to get prepared, I'm getting there at 7 a.m.
Right.
I'm busy from 8 to 5 and do some stuff after. I'm not getting home until I'm leaving at like, literally like 6 a.m. and getting home at like, 6:30 at night. So, yeah, that's the beauty about this now. I just punch a fucking clock. That's all I do. And I love it. Did I tell you, God, about a month or so ago, I don't know, because my boss has been in, actually recently there's talk of me and two other people ultimately, hopefully in the next couple of months of being moved up to the next level. And that's where you can start making real money and stuff.
Right.
So, didn't have that happening yet, but he's kind of working and preparing with us. But like a month or so ago, whenever it was, he's talking about some things. And he's like, oh, work on this and do this. And you're with your background or whatever. And could easily see you being a mentor or possibly this and some sort of management thing where you can, in my head, I'm like, fuck no. Fuck no, not even. Fuck no, fuck no, not a fucking chance. But
Right.
that was asked in my interview because he was my manager, and then one other guy that is over with the other department interviewed me, and that question was asked. If you have an opportunity for growth,
Right.
to be in a position like a leadership position, would you consider it? And I said, my answer was simple. I said, I'll tell you what. I said, I've done a lot over the years. I'm looking forward to getting back on a desk, but I'm open to look at any
Sure.
opportunity.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I've had similar conversations too, right? Because we've got a couple of trainers, I think 2 or 3 in our fleet, but they're aging out. They're a couple of them are getting ready to retire. So yeah, it's been brought up to me. Would you be interested? And I said, yeah, I'd be interested. Maybe. I mean, it's more money and stuff and whatever
Right.
when you do it. So yeah, we'll see.
Well, and that's the thing. I think you and I asked you that question probably a handful of years ago. I think because you've been here for what, 6 years, 7 at this company.
Yeah, shit. Yeah, it's gonna be about a month. Yeah, I'll be starting my 8th year with JB.
Nice. And I think whatever it was, maybe it was a handful of years ago because I think you were talking about the dispatch thing and blah blah blah, and I asked you about that. Would you ever consider it? And I think at that time you're like, you wouldn't like that sort of thing. But who knows? I mean, from a training standpoint, shit, you've done this thing for a long time.
Right.
And like you said, more money. You don't have to literally drive, right? You'd be just ride along with people.
Right. Yeah, you ride along. And it's the new ones. I mean, it's not like, you're doing it all the time. It's,
Right.
when they hire somebody on and whatever. Yeah. You go out with them for a few days and show them the ropes.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, just with I know, and especially with this company's a lot bigger. I told my boss a week or so ago when I was on a meeting with him, and I was at our things, and he goes busy, and I'm like, I know. I said we've got is we do the group of people that are within our team.
Mhm.
They're I don't know what goes on in the background. I don't think there's a lot of fuck offs, because I don't
Right.
see a lot of people dropping off. We're hiring, and I don't see a lot of people dropping off, which is a good thing.
Right.
But I told him, I said, I said this seems like a good group of people. I said I had I had less than half of that 10 people at one time, but they were all problems. And I'm like,
Mhm.
man, it's fucking terrible, But I
Right.
mean, he's got like 35 people,
Sure.
And I'm like, ugh. I don't want them their headaches anymore. I just fucking
No.
don't, man. I just don't.
Right.
And seriously, if I get, and I think I will, it could take time, but so whenever I get moved up like that,
Mhm.
it's more responsibilities, bigger balances, more focus on you and all that stuff. But all I got to do is get kind of in the swing of things. I mean, yeah, I get
Sure.
nitpicked on where I'm at now,
Right.
and I'm fine with it. But I think it's basically at a level. It's a little bit more of a professional level,
Mhm.
and you're working with bigger things, so they trust you. And once
Sure.
you get skilled in there, people really do. They kind of fucking leave you alone,
Right.
and you can make a lot of money. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that's what I want because
Right.
I'll still be punching the same goddamn clock.
Right.
Fucking 8 a.m., 5 p.m., 8
Yep.
a.m., 5 p.m. Fucking wolf down for my half-hour lunch on Monday through Thursday, and get a long lunch on Friday. What the fuck do I care?
Right.
So. All right. Well, yeah. Thank you for joining us for This Is Where We Work. This is like career day. We just had career
Right.
day.
Yeah, this is the crap we do when we're not doing this.
Yeah. You know what? The funny part is that this is kind of what all these little things that we deal with. I mean, yeah, we could say, hey, I'm dealing with this sober. Yeah, but there's fucking normal people doing the same shit. But yeah,
Mhm. Right.
we're just everyday guys.
Yeah. Now, finally.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Oh, I gotta remind me. I'll write it down. Mark Maron. I got a couple of things I wanna talk about Mark, but so I've been listening to more of his stuff lately. But anyhow,
Cool.
but all right. So I think at
Mhm.
almost 8 minutes into our podcast, I think it's time for a reading.
Right. Yeah. Listeners are out there going, what the fuck, man?
Right, man. I'm sitting down waiting for my reading. Got my I don't know what do you got a cup of coffee and a donut right now sitting there? Here it comes. It's a reading. It's coming, everyone.
It is a reading. It is a reading. Well, so nothing jumped out at me this week. And actually, the lead at my home group this past Sunday, brought up some points. She was kind of one of those bad examples. So
Oh.
which we'll get into. But anyway, responsibility, which of course is one of my favorite themes of this program. So it's funny. I looked in God Grant Me, and I think responsibility, there's like 4 readings or something. I think we've done them all.
Well, probably, like you said, if it was, like one of
Right.
your favorite things. Yeah.
Exactly. So I went to Keep It Simple, and there's one reading under responsibility and Keep It Simple, and here it is. January 16th. Fair play is primarily not blaming others for anything that is wrong with us. Some guy named Eric Hoffer, I guess he was a kind of modern American philosopher, according to Google. All right. It's tempting to blame others for our problems. Recovery asks us to answer for our actions. Admitting we are powerless over alcohol and other drugs is a start. Each of the 12 steps asks us to answer for our actions in some way. The program shows us how to do this. Over time, we see that being responsible for our actions is the best way to live, period. Our self-confidence grows as we become more responsible. We start to see just how much we can do. We have gone from being drunks to being responsible people. If we can do this, then we can do anything. Prayer for the day. I pray to remember that I'm responsible for my actions. Blaming puts distance between me and other people. Higher power, help me to play fair. Action for the day. Today, I'll list 4 times I've blamed someone else for a problem that was really my problem.
Oh, let me count the ways. Okay, wait.
Right.
Well, let me start over. Let me count the ways that I wanted to do that. Daily, I don't ever want to be fucking wrong. I
Right.
don't want to answer for my own actions. I want to blame others. I
Right.
don't want to be responsible.
Right.
Any of that stuff. But anyhow, I mean, to the real question though, I mean, is there a time, sober times, I mean, that you blame somebody for things that you did?
No.
Yeah, I
Not
know it's
sober. Right.
yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, I think if I could answer that with, oh yeah, 4 years ago. By the way, Mike, that thing.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly. No, sobriety. No. Right. I mean, again, we've talked about it plenty of times. It's one of the gifts, man. Everything is my fault, and therefore I have power.
Right.
And I believe I read somewhere lack of power was our dilemma.
Right.
Yes, well, I don't have that lack of power today because I take responsibility. It's all my fucking fault, good and bad. And there is power in that. There's control in that. And I like that. That's a wonderful thing. Right. Yeah. So the reason I wanted to bring it up, right. So this chick, I don't know, she was late 20s, I guess, and she had about a year or so sober. And just all through her lead, I'm sitting back as I sit towards the back. Bill, but yes, I sit
Right.
towards the back of the room because I sit at the raffle table and I am the co-treasurer of my home group. So that's my little service area. And so I'm sitting back there and I'm listening to her lead, and it's a lot of drunkalog shit and blah, 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 but lots of stuff, man. She's like not taking responsibility for all of these bad things in her life. And I'm going, okay, blah, blah, blah. Maybe she'll, towards the end.
Bring it around.
Yeah, right. She didn't. She brought it around to, sometimes I hate to say it, but I'm gonna say it anyway. So apparently she didn't hate to say it. She probably liked to fucking say it. Sometimes this sobriety thing sucks. It really sucks being sober sometime. And of course, my eyes spun to the back of my skull. And I was just I wanted to stand up and scream. It's because you're not fucking taking responsibility for any of yourself. So yeah, of course your sobriety sucks. Sorry, I didn't.
I was a good boy, and whatever. And other people commented, and our secretary, who real good dude. You've met Andrew, right?
Oh yeah, yep.
Right, yeah, good dude. He's around 6 years, I think. He's and just working a really good program. Comes from the same place that we came from. He lived at Don Fox's house for a long time in early sobriety and whatever. So he's got his shit, and he did. He without beating her up and whatever, did make a comment about personal responsibility. And I was just, oh, thank you.
Right.
But yeah, yeah, she was struggling and not enjoying her sobriety, not reaping the fruits of this thing because she didn't take fucking responsibility for her own anything. And I was just like, wow, man, that sucks. Sorry for you. Hope somebody fucking gets you on the right track. Cause fourth step, right? A big part of the fourth step is look in your part. What is my part in this thing? Responsibility. What is my responsibility? What is my part? And, the way we were taught was when we did that fourth step, and of course it carries on to doing a daily 10th step, is what is my part in it? What is my responsibility? And thankfully we were taught it's all your fucking responsibility. It's nobody else's fucking fault. Somebody knocks you over the fucking head with a baseball bat, find your part in it. What were you doing? Were you someplace you shouldn't have been? Were you not paying attention when the guy came up with a baseball bat? Yes, you have a part and I have a part in everything that happens to me.
I'm glad you brought up the fourth step, because I was thinking about that. I'm like, okay, year plus Cleveland, depending on
right.
And for anyone out there in Cleveland, I'll call it a general rule: 90% of the people. If they've got a decent sponsor, that sponsor is not going to let them get up behind a podium or in front of an audience like that to lead a meeting, whatever you guys want to call it, lead, share, blah blah blah,
right.
A meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous until they've done their fourth and their fifth step.
Right.
And that's exactly what I was thinking about. I'm like, that's the fucking point,
Yeah.
And maybe sobriety was really tough until that point. And when you said the sucks part, I'm like, man, even in the hardest time, it didn't suck. It was just fucking difficult.
Sure.
It's difficult because we were going, 1,000 or 100 miles an hour in this direction, and somebody's like, nope, you got to go that way,
right,
and you got to slow the fuck down. And I'm like, no, I was going this way and I'm going really fast.
Right.
You gotta go the opposite direction, but slow the fuck down,
Uh-huh.
And then you're in a whole different car, all different clothes. You got your name still, but that's fucking it. Go slow and go that way. I don't want to. But sucks, man. My life, I would even say my life sucked. I've had what I think are sucky moments, because I won't even say sucky, life circle or days even,
Right.
Everyone's had some suck in their life, whether you're
Of
sober
course.
or not. But man, my sobriety doesn't suck. My sobriety is what saves me in those suck moments.
Exactly.
So it's sobriety is the anti-suck. But so that part of it, and then the other thing literally that I thought about, and I'm glad you brought it up, is that we were taught that find your part in fucking everything.
Everything.
Find your part in the good, find it in the supposed bad, find it in the murky waters.
Yep.
Everywhere. Like, you and I had literally had a conversation about that, where somebody, I think the example was, some guy walks down the street and punches you in the nuts, and I think I used you an example. Why wouldn't I?
Sure.
What was your part? You're like, well, maybe I was looking at my phone and I wasn't paying attention to the fact that his fist was out,
Right.
I could have moved, or whatever the case is. You think about that, you're like, that's kind of fucked up, man. This motherfucker punched me in the balls and is partly my fault. Damn it.
Absolutely. Yeah, but again, there's power and there's freedom in that. Your balls still hurt, but it's all right.
Right. And the thing of it is, too, it's so wonderful, and maybe as weird as this may sound, but it's so wonderful to be able to at least be able to pinpoint in everything that happens in your life, at least to pinpoint one thing.
Yep.
There's one constant. I was there and I was
Yep.
part of.
Yep.
Good, bad, or fucking indifferent.
Mm-hmm.
I was part of it, so I know that, and then I can look back from there. Now, from the good part, it doesn't mean like, oh, this thing could happen to me. It's because of me. No, I had a part to it.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, both of us, we're coming up on, we're sliding around the corner. January is always my kind of like look. I don't know, at the top of the mountain, looking down at our coming up sobriety day type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But so our 15th year is coming up.
Right.
Not fronting or anything. It's just a fucking fact. But the whole point is that yes, I mean we've stayed sober for this amount of time. 14
Mm-hmm.
years and 8 months or 9 months or whatever the fuck it's been or coming up
Right.
on. But we've done the work, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But we've had a lot of help. We didn't do
Yep.
this on our own. We didn't develop that, that 164 pages of that book that we use.
No, we
didn't
did
develop
not.
these places that we go to hear these either fucked up leads or
Mm-hmm.
or leads that that give us insight. We didn't make up Founders Day. And we didn't make up any of this shit.
No.
So yeah, we had a part in this shit. I mean, yeah, we got to do the work. That's it. We got to do the work, and it's really not that fucking hard.
Right. Right.
But yeah, that's kind of funny. I'm glad you brought up that lead, because it is. I think I would have just been cringing the entire time
Mm-hmm.
during a lead like that, being in my head, being like, "You don't see it? God,
Right.
you don't see
I
it?"
know. Right. And, again, younger female, blah, blah, blah. Not my fucking responsibility.
Right.
But yeah. Oh, just, wanted to shake her, give her, I wanted to smack her in the fucking face and go, hey.
Give her-
But that's what I wanted to do. And that's clearly why I didn't do it.
Right. Yeah. Give her a good talking to.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, yeah, that's everything that the reading was about, because I wrote down my little points of first thing, not blaming others, answer for our actions, responsible for for our actions.
Mm-hmm.
And I did like the part, and I never thought about that, but and I don't remember what all the context was about it, but it talked about self-confidence. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it was, being responsible or taking responsibility and doing all these different things
Right.
gives us self-confidence, which is what you were talking about. Because, I mean, literally, that if we know that, we have part in, fault in fucking everything, and everything's our
Right.
responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I mean, it's great. What a great opportunity. I think that in and of itself is a confidence builder, right?
Oh, absolutely. Right. Again, lack of power was our dilemma, man. Well, this, in a real fucked up way, gives us power. It's great.
Right.
I am responsible. Yes, I am responsible. I want the hand of AA to be there. And for that, I am responsible. Yes, that too.
Right.
Again, yeah. And that, again, gives you value, gives you worth. And yes, responsibility, confidence. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It is. And I felt so fucking bad for this girl, and it's a damn shame. Hopefully she'll at some point figure it out.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
again, that one is not my responsibility. Younger female is not my responsibility. That is for the women in this program.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, and it is. It's one of the things, there's those, a few different emotions here going, Jesus Christ, and like you said, wanting to shake her and give her a good talking to, or a smack across the face, kind of like, wake up type of thing.
Right.
But
Oh, yeah.
but then on the other end of it, yeah, I mean, literally feeling bad, because like you don't even know, and not that you don't have to end up with this great magical life, filled with whatever.
No.
It just, all you have to be is, happy and content
Yeah.
and satisfied with your life. And she's robbing herself of that,
Mhm. Yeah.
and it's a shame. It really is.
It is. Right. I mean, I know, if I was working this program to the best of my ability, and all I got was fucking dry and yeah, and feeling miserable. Fuck that.
Right.
I know, because I've done it, and it was awful, and I don't ever want to do it again. So, yeah, and part of it is taking that responsibility and going, yep, It's all my fault. Hi.
Right. Well, yeah, and there's memes out there, and people joke about it and this and that. It's like, oh, all us sober people wouldn't continue doing this if it wasn't better than what we had, if we weren't at
Mm-hmm.
least enjoying ourselves and enjoying our lives. And
Right.
yeah, to that point, I mean, all of us. I don't want to say all of us, but a good goddamn majority of us that are, alcoholics and addicts and all that sort of thing. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we're all about, like you always say, about feeling good and the
Right.
pleasure and all those sort of things.
Right.
And I mean, none of us, I don't even think it would be a conscious choice, but I don't think that our brains would allow us to continue to do something that made us feel like shit all the time.
Right.
I mean, why wouldn't you want to go back to at least something that made you feel better?
Right.
Like,
At least get that 20 minutes a day. Right. Or whatever. Yeah.
right?
I'm going to feel like shit most of the day. At least I'll feel really fucking good for about a half an hour.
Well, yeah. I mean, if every time in the morning, if every time I opened up my phone to do my readings, literally somebody punched me in the nuts, and then every time I walked into an AA meeting, I got punched in the face and kicked in the balls, I
Mm.
probably would stop doing my readings.
Mm-hmm.
I would stop going to AA meetings.
Right.
I'm like, I'm not gonna go do that. There's no fucking fun, and it
Right.
does nothing for me, But no, I mean, it's literally, it's just, yeah, I can't even imagine. I mean, and I didn't even. I didn't even realize that I wasn't living my best life for the first 9 months, and it
Right.
still wasn't that fucking bad. It was still
Right.
better than what
Mm-hmm.
my fucking lowly life was, and I truly wasn't getting the the entire benefit. I probably
Right.
was getting 25% of the benefit that I could have during that
Mm-hmm.
first 30%, let's say,
Right.
during that first 9 months, and it was still fucking miles ahead of what I left.
Yeah,
I was still like,
exactly.
this is fucking great. But yeah, dude, and you're fucking miserable. You don't even realize it. But yeah, I'm better miserable though.
Right. Exactly. At least I'm not throwing up on my shoes.
Yeah, I'm a better version of miserable. You don't know what I had. You don't know what I had before, but man, this is a fucking dream.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of funny. So, and I guess I didn't realize that. So God grant me only has, and I say only, but only 4 readings that mention responsibility, and keep it simple only has one. That's kind of I don't know. It just doesn't seem like a lot.
Right.
Seems like it
Yeah,
would be more.
exactly. Well, I mean, most of the, when you go into the glossary or whatever in the back of the book and look up the subjects, I mean, most of them don't have any more than, 3 or 4 or 5, you know, different readings. I mean, clearly responsibility is brought up in other ones. That's just the
Right.
ones that, you know, right. Sobriety, is pretty much in all of them. And
Right.
let me see. Let's take a look here. Sobriety, just for shits and giggles.
That's like when I looked up the word God in the 24-hour book versus God grant me, and the
Right.
difference. It's like I don't know how many times in 24-hour book it was a hell of a lot more that the word God was in there versus
Oh,
God
yeah.
grant
Okay.
me. But
So, yeah. Sobriety, 1. Yeah. Right. Services, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that's a big one.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So, self-centeredness, 1. Self-criticism, 1. Self-discipline, 1. Self-discovery, 1.
Wow.
Self-esteem, 1. Self-knowledge, 1. Ooh, self-love, 2.
Ooh, I self-love myself in both
Right.
ways.
But yeah, so I mean, yeah, the listings in the back are clearly not indicative of every time that a subject is brought up. Ooh, sex, 1.
Wait, what page is that at? Let me write that down.
That would be January 23rd if you kids have your Keep It Simple book at hand.
Yeah, if you're playing along with your reader at home. Well, that's coming up. We'll get to it. And then I'm sure whenever I get to that reading, somewhere in the back of my head it'll be like a who? Where did like what? Why did that? I don't even know what I just read. Some thought just popped into my head. I'll have like a deja vu moment or something like that on
Right. Yeah. So
January
about
whatever.
23rd,
Okay.
5-6 weeks from now.
Right. Yeah,
Something to look forward to. I guess we'll have to stay sober until then to get to the sex reading.
Right. Yeah, because I'm sure that if I start drinking before then, I'm not going to be like, note to self, January
Right.
23rd, I at least got to do my reading on January
If we
23rd.
start drinking, we'll just go straight for it. We're not going to wait because we've taken our will back.
Yeah, exactly. They just jump ahead. But no, I mean that was a good reading, and I'm like I said, I'm glad you brought that up, and literally, I mean, I hope that I do. I hope that she finds her, any happiness. I hope she finds her way because. Man, I just, I can't imagine, this, we work way too fucking hard. I mean, granted, the work gets easier as you go along. Don't get me wrong on that, but
again, you work any muscle, it gets stronger and it gets easier to work. But yes, right, you got to work it.
Yeah, too much change and too much effort and, quote unquote sacrifice, to begin with, to not be happy doing this thing,
Exactly.
And again, like I said, it's just she's robbing herself of that happiness. But
Yep.
So what else? Anything else in the reading? Anything else that kind of jumped out or popped out? Or
nah, that was it. I just like that stuck in my craw, and I wanted to make sure I knew I was going to bring it up at some point, and I was like, well, shit, I'll just find a responsibility reading, and then we'll just do it, and it'll be done.
Right. No, that's good. See, every once in a while, we actually put, and I'll say we collectively, we put some thought into this thing.
Sure.
Oh, before I forget, I have to bring this up right away. So your clip that I did, the regrets and bad choices. First of all, I was highly disappointed with my production last week. It was really low. That's why I asked you, like, can you hear that? I thought maybe.
I heard it. Yeah.
Yeah, but so two things. I figured out now that there's a volume button. Okay, so hang on. Ready?
This episode is brought to you by Regret and Bad Choices.
Okay,
that's much better.
Yeah, it sounds like you're in the room with yourself, right? Now, it's a scary thought.
Hi, B.
But here's the other thing. If you listen closely, everyone quiet for a minute. Listen closely.
This episode is brought to you by Regret and Bad Choices.
Did you notice that I am nowhere on the recording?
Yeah. I mean, well, a little bit. There's a pop right at the beginning.
Nope, that's you. That's you laughing.
Oh,
because it's
play it again.
Only...
Play it again.
I whatever. How much money you got in the bank? Because you're going to lose.
Not enough. This episode is brought to you by Regret and Bad Choices. All right.
So the reason I'm going to say you're going to lose is because this software has the same capabilities as Riverside did, where each track is recorded separately. Okay.
Right.
So I had I finally used my brain this week, and I'm like, you know what? Because I couldn't remember. I said I was having trouble cutting it down, getting my voice out of it.
Right.
I just took your track. So that's only your recording. That's why I said I am not on there. Guaranteed.
Okay.
I can never ever say 100% never. Right. I am not on that under any circumstance because it's only you.
Okay.
But here's the fucking funny part. Okay, so it's happened every once in a while with Riverside. As we were putting them together, the long story short there is that every once in a while when I first put them together, both tracks wouldn't play, and you hear somebody's missing, right?
Right.
So as I'm doing this, because I found out roughly where it was, and then I just downloaded your track and I'm popping through. So it's so fucking funny because I'm sitting there, trying to find the piece, and all of a sudden you're like, right. Mm-hmm. And then you would laugh just like that. And there's nothing there. You're just talking to yourself. It's so fucking funny.
Nice.
And then I'm like, oh, this is fucking great because I'm like, I can get the full clip nice and clean. I found the volume button. I'm like, oh, I'm just like, I'm so fucking stupid, But the way that it is on here, it has this. Where now is actually it's like a volume slider that you can see, but what it looked like, I thought that was the length of the recording, on there, or the playing when in the recording part. But either way, because I'm looking up like, what the fuck's the volume on here? I'm like, oh my god, it's right fucking there. But so now at any time I want.
This episode is brought to you by Regret and Bad Choices.
and that will be clear in the front of each one of our episodes, and we're all good to go. So yeah, I'm happy with myself. But
you took responsibility.
I did. I was literally when I listened to playback, I'm like, that's fucking terrible. I'm like, I actually wanted to edit it out, but I'm like, fuck it. I mean, there's no way in the world I'm going to go through any like that kind of effort.
Right.
I ain't doing that kind of fucking work. Oh, real quick. So, who was I listening to? Speaking of editing, Dax Shepard. I talk about him every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And so here's the thing, and I guess it's a side note before I bring up the editing part. Dax Shepard there's one thing that I don't. A couple of things that kind of I don't want to say great on me that I don't necessarily like about him. Every once in a while, he says words weird a little bit. Every once in a while, just like
Mm-hmm.
ticks that that you catch. It's
Sure.
not that I don't like it, but whatever. But the thing of it is, still to this day, when people bring up sobriety, like
Mm-hmm.
he'll talk about, he'll say, "Oh, I first or I've been around this thing since, or I first got sober, whatever it is." He like 25 years ago. He goes, I got into this, 25 years ago.
Right.
And he relapsed, and
Mm-hmm.
it was a drug thing, and he was open. It was Bradley Cooper that got him to come out with it, because told
Mm-hmm.
him, listen, dude, you talk about this shit all the time. If you're not willing to out yourself, what are you doing to all these people?
Right. Right.
So one, it was so great that, whatever it was, handful of years ago, not great that he relapsed, but
Mm-hmm.
Bradley Cooper had him take responsibility for himself.
Mm-hmm.
But and again, you talk about somebody up there not taking responsibility. I cringe every time I hear it, because he never says, if somebody's brought it up before and they're like, "Oh, I heard you're kind of coming out episode," and then he'll say, "Yeah," he goes, I haven't had a drop of alcohol in 20 years, but I've been
Mm-hmm.
off of pills now for this." But he'll
Right.
only bring it up when he's asked. But that's a
Mm-hmm.
whole sideline to this. But it makes me cringe a little bit. It makes me uncomfortable, because I would want to, if somebody said that, I'm like, here's what my deal is. I'd want to just fucking vomit it on somebody and be like, "No, I did this, but I'm back."
Right.
So, but anyhow, they were talking about editing and stuff like that, and all the time and effort. Like his partner, her name is Monica,
Mm-hmm.
does all the editing, and they were talking to somebody, and she's like, the person that they were talking to said, "Man, you did such a great job when you edited the last time I was on here." And she's like, "I take pride in that." Blah blah blah. She's like, "It's a lot of work and whatever." And in my head, I'm like, I am so fucking glad
Mm-hmm.
that we don't, but
Yeah.
because even Mark Maron, I mean, he'll
Mm-hmm.
talk about whoever his producer is edits the shit out of his stuff, because
Right.
if he's got an episode that runs an hour and a half,
Right.
what, 20 minutes of it is him, doing his stuff. I mean, that hour and 10 or whatever it is of the guest, they're probably there an hour and a half or hour and 45 minutes.
Sure.
They openly talk about the fact that they edit,
Mm-hmm.
but what I wanted to bring up about him was, he's a couple of these episodes recently, he's talked about the fact of, yeah, we're old school, man. We're like radio, man.
Right.
We're only audio. And he said it in his most recent episode.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, you know what? He goes, I don't want to make people watch this stuff. He goes, we're still just audio. He goes, I think it's more intimate that way.
Yeah.
And he likes having people. For him, I mean, a lot of people hated the pandemic, but he's talked about that openly. He didn't like the whole Zoom thing. He goes, I just
Right.
didn't feel, he goes, I like sitting in front of somebody.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know. I mean, it'd be cool. Obviously not possible for us, to
Mm-hmm.
do that. But I mean, we've actually never had anyone in the same room, when we've
Right.
recorded. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just he's been really kind of focused on that sort of thing, which I thought was kind of cool. And it makes me feel. It actually does. It makes me feel good. I feel good about what we're doing anyhow. But
Sure.
you watch all of these, like Matt from Sober Friends is now, he just popped on TikTok. He was talking about it in one of their episodes. So
Mm-hmm.
he's doing all these fucking videos, clearly on TikTok, and they're on Instagram.
Right.
Everyone's got their videos, got their YouTube, everyone's got their all this shit.
Right.
And I'm like, you know what? I mean, again, you look at that and it's, I don't know, everyone else is doing it. It's that
Sure.
mindset. But I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. I like what we do. The video was uncomfortable. I watch some of these people that do video, and
Mm-hmm.
they look fucking uncomfortable.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we've talked about it. Right. I like radio. I like when I do podcasts, I listen to them.
Right.
And I mean, hell, actual radio shows are doing video now. They'll have a YouTube feed while they're doing their show. The local guy I listen to here, Alan Cox, he's got a YouTube feed going. And he talks about he hates it because he's a radio dude. I mean, Mark is a radio guy. I mean, he did a lot of radio. He had a show in LA for a while. He was on Air America for a couple years. Yeah. I like radio. I still listen to radio. And so, yeah, if I'm going to do something like this, a podcast or whatever, yeah, audio. That's the way I like it.
Right.
We did the one experiment and I fucking hated it. I was just like, no, yeah.
And it's again, like I said, there maybe there would be some reason, and I know jokingly I said if we had some hot chicks on or something like that, but I'm just saying maybe there would be a reason. And I know that again, YouTube is one of the biggest things. But I got an email from Podpage. So Podpage is our SoberNotMature, our podcast website host is Podpage.
Okay.
So and again, well, you were there when we put it together. I mean, it's basically it's a web host, and they specialize in podcasts. It's fucking awesome.
Right.
That's having built a couple of other websites, not built, but I mean having to put them together. It's fucking hard. Podpage is like, oh, I'm going to put in some stuff and it works, and that's how it should be. It was fucking great.
Yeah.
But they were talking about YouTube is kind of changing their because there's people are called creators on YouTube. And even Spotify or Spotify. It's Spotify for creators now is the name of that. Spotify is the place that distributes our podcast. They're our distributor. But everyone's doing all that. But apparently YouTube's taken this switch and basically calling all of its kind of creators podcasters because they're trying to grab the podcast market. And I've heard from a lot of different people that if you really want to grow as a medium, whatever you are, YouTube, happens to be the place to do it because YouTube's trying to attract and they're doing this and that, and every one of our fucking episodes goes up on YouTube.
Yeah.
But it's fucking audio, know? And if people find us that way, fine. If people don't like it that way, fuck them, I don't know. Here's the thing. Let's throw this out as a blanket thing. Okay. Now, if we get like one of the, like Dax, Dax has got a big deal. Smartless has got a big deal. I mean, Mark makes his own money doing his thing. If somebody wants to come along and somebody backs up a truckload of fucking money and says, okay, but you could do your audio, but you got to do a little video over here. I think maybe, we would be like, okay. But there's going to be, that would be a sideline thing. That's the thing, man. I don't want to lose, again, talk about fucking control. I don't want to lose control of this thing either. This, whether it was little or medium or big. I mean, I like the fact that we don't have to go ask anyone, can we do this?
Right.
I mean, 9 times out of, well, you don't fucking know. Any day you sit in front of this goddamn computer screen of yours and throw that microphone into those headphones on, you have no fucking idea, except for your reading. You have no idea what's going to come out of my mouth. We never do we do a pre-show about other shit. But, we don't sit down. I've never, in the beginning, what was that, like episode 3 or 4? I said, do you want me to show you this list before? And do you remember what your answer was?
I said no, because then I'll have time to think up a lie.
Yeah. So almost 3 years ago, my friend Mike over there, and I just laughed. I'm like, okay. He's like, yeah. He goes, I don't have time to think up lies.
Yep. I want to be honest, and the best way to be honest is to just fucking be spontaneity and do what exactly.
And that's why I try so hard that when I write these things down or put, obviously make these notes on my phone, that I don't think about them too much, because I also don't want to spoil, my thing. And sometimes looking back on them, I can't remember, number one, how long it's been on here. I don't remember why I wrote it down. I've sometimes have typos on here because I voice texted and I'm like, what the fuck did I even put on here?
Oh, right. Yeah. You don't even have any idea what the fuck it means. I love that.
Right. I'm like, I don't even know why I wrote this stuff. I have no idea. I don't even know what it means. I'm sitting there reading words and they don't make any sense. Yep, but hey, we are professionals, so
that's
fuck
right.
all of you. All right, so on that note, now that I told all our listeners that fuck all of you, should we just take a break, let them give a little bit of time to cool down?
Yes. Well, we'll be back with more fun and more thrills right after these words from our sponsor.
Hey everyone, it's your friends at Sober Not Mature.
Hi
And
there.
yes, it's both of your friends this time. Hi Mike, how are you?
I'm well. How are you, Bill?
I am doing well, but we do have a purpose. We actually usually talk about our one website, but we actually have two websites now. So we wanted two websites in one. All right, so everyone knows we still have the podcast website that is www.SoberNotMature.com. And we just launched the store website, so we also have that. Do you know what the website address is on that one, Mike?
Of course I don't.
It's pretty easy, Mike. It's www.SoberNotMatureShop.com. But from the podcast website, you can still hit the store link and get into the web store, or you can access it from our Instagram page through the highlights. We've been posting quite a bit about it, and we'll continue to do that. But do you know what's on the second website, Mike?
Well, there's a store. There are products that you can purchase for you and your loved ones.
Well, Mike, do we still have merchandise?
We have merchandise. Well, we got T-shirts and coffee mugs and all kinds of crap.
And one of the coolest parts, we also do have all the recovery books from Hazelden, which is kind of a big deal.
That is a big deal.
Yeah, at least for us. So all the books that we read, God Grant Me 24 Hours, the Big Book, the 12 and 12, all of those books are available for sale on our website. And again, that store website is www.sober.
Trying to help, man.
I know you are. You're not helping, though. Okay, now I got to say www.SoberNotMatureShop.com. .com. Visit that today, or visit the podcast website, which is, again, the podcast website. So
www.SoberNotMature.com.
Did you just say sober but not mature?
Yeah, sure. Write that down.
Yeah, like fucking mush mouth or something. All right, everyone. You've suffered enough with this, and we'll get back to what we were talking about previously. So visit the websites, though. All right, everyone. Welcome back. More thrills, huh? What'd you say? More thrills and more what?
More fun and more thrills.
More fun and more thrills. See, again, words come out of your mouth in 10 seconds later. Wait, what did you just say? No idea what you're fucking talking about. But no, seriously, man, I am. We're coming up. We're a little over. We're a month and a couple of weeks away from February. 2 months away. I'm sorry. February 27th will be 3 years when we started this thing, and I don't know. I mean, it seems like we've been doing this forever, but then again, it doesn't. You know, I mean,
it doesn't.
and yeah, we learned some things. I mean, we're on episode 147, and I just figured out where a volume button was on a video clip. I mean, we've had this software for fucking 6 months or 7 months, and I just figured out, how to use these little, video things. Right? I can load up a bunch of shit. Maybe I'll start. That'll be our thing from now on. Every episode, I'll just pop in with a new little.
Nice.
But speaking of every episode, I won't do it right now, but I do have 2 news stories. Definitely want to get to both of those because they're fun. Because I think they're fun. But all right, so the 24-hour book, speaking of, was talking about fellowship this week. I think this week and maybe last week, but for sure this week. So my question to you, Mike.
Yes.
How important was the fellowship to you when you first got sober? I've got a second part question to that, but to begin with, how important was fellowship to you? Like, again, right away at the beginning.
Well, I like we had a choice.
Well, yeah, that's a good point.
Packed into the Keating Center, stacked up like cordwood. No, it was important because I've said it many times. I was an isolator, I was a loner, and I still am to a large extent. I live my life fairly solitary. But yes, it was very important to be accountable and to know that I wasn't alone. And again, not unique and not special. I've got this right. No, it's big time. I mean, these were all important things that I had to learn and to know, in my heart that that yeah, I wasn't unique, I wasn't special, I was a garden variety drunk, and the solution was there for all of us, including me. And the work was the same for all of us, including me. And yeah, so being walking through this with my fellow drunks and junkies was very important. Yeah, just I wasn't alone, and I certainly wasn't special.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, I spent a lot of time alone. Obviously towards the end, I lived alone. From
Mm-hmm.
when Dawn and I split, and
Right.
figure that 4-year period, which they're fucking dark. But I mean, I lived by myself. Obviously, Derek there, and blah blah blah. But um, uh, I guess with the fellowship, I don't know. I'm just gonna say I don't know that I would have stayed. Getting back to the enjoying ourselves and that sort of thing. Like talking to that person with the lead. I mean, if I didn't at least, and it was hard, being around that many, like you said,
Right.
stacked up like fucking cordwood. We always
Oh
talk
yeah.
about it, and not everyone was a breath of fucking fresh air around there. I mean, not
No, there
even
was some
close.
very stinky breath in there.
Yeah, and and I get it. I mean, people coming in and just like us, they're fucking wild animals that are trying to be tamed,
Mm-hmm.
or trying to. Marty was trying to teach us these grown men, whether we were in their mid 20s to their mid 40s to whatever,
Right.
teaching all of us, how to actually live and be semi decent human beings and
Mm-hmm.
be part of society again. So I mean, I get it, but I don't know. It's the guys themselves. I mean, we made some friendships. Even
Mm-hmm.
though a lot of them, have turned out to be, for us, the sobriety lifelong friendships. The people
Sure.
that we met, but others weren't. But they were very important at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, the accountability made me think of the cleaning up, and if something was wrong, everyone got punished. If they've got like one person, was out fucking his baby mama, the whole place gets shut down. But
Yep.
anything like that, you lived and died with each other,
Yeah.
so he was, Marty was teaching us this unity, which all of us were like a bunch of lone fucking wolves that had to be
Mm-hmm.
be taught how to act as a pack.
Yeah. Right.
It's just it was really important. I
Mm-hmm.
again, I can't say that I wouldn't have stayed, but I know that until I had the opportunity to kind of get some clarity, I guess is the best way to put it. That all the guys that were there, all of those guys,
Mm-hmm.
I think helped keep me there.
Right. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's important, yeah, the first word, the first step is we, and yeah, we cannot do this by ourselves. I mean, Marty drilled it into our heads. We stay sober. I get drunk.
Right. Well, and the other thing too, especially in those early days and stuff like that, is that regardless of what was going on, especially when we started to get some freedom,
Right.
if you didn't know what to do with yourself, you could always, if it didn't matter where you're out doing whatever, and you're having a moment or having a day, or maybe people out there getting triggered or whatever. I don't fucking know,
Mm-hmm.
but whatever. If you're out there and you felt uncomfortable, you could always walk back, and there was somebody there.
Right.
Even if you didn't know the person, that you could just go sit under the tent and fucking smoke a cigarette. There was
Mm-hmm.
another human being there,
Right.
and that's really comforting at times. It's like, God, I hate to be around all these fucking people. But other times it was like really nice, And I
Yeah.
remember, and I told this story, but I got out of work the one day, and I had a whole Saturday with no place to go and nothing to do, and I get out at noon, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go grab some lunch. That was planned, and then like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, I went to like a fucking Best Buy or wherever, and then I just didn't know what to fucking do with myself.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm gonna go back to the Keating Center, and fucking no one was there. No one,
Right.
I mean, everyone was out doing stuff.
Yeah.
So I went down into it's when we were down in the whatever dorm we were in, 3-quarter dorm. I went down there and took a fucking nap, and I woke up when one of you guys walked in the dorm. So I'm like, I don't know what to do with myself. So I'm gonna go downstairs, and I'm gonna lay down, and I'm gonna sleep.
Out.
But it was comforting having that fellowship. So
Mm-hmm.
the second part of the question, though, is do you feel that fellowship is still, and I put the word important, which I
Mm-hmm.
don't even know if that's the right word. Is
Yeah.
a fellowship still a big part of your recovery? Maybe.
I mean, but no, not as much. No, it's not. It's not as much. But um, like you said, it's there. I know
Right.
it's there. It's on the other end of the phone. I got a phone full of fucking numbers. Thankfully I live here where there's meetings, there's tons of meetings every night. If I needed to go and hang out, I it's there. Thankfully I don't need it. We've talked about it plenty of times. If I fucking need it that bad, something else is wrong. And yeah. But yeah, no, it's not as important, but it's there, and I know it's there, and I know it's just a phone call or, get in my car and drive up the street and go to a church basement. It's there. And that's enough for me today.
Right.
When I talked about that first time I went to Mexico, it's we go to an all inclusive. There's booze everywhere. It's a big part of what's going on there for most of the people there. And the first time I went, it was just me and my girlfriend, and she's not one of us, and so I was feeling a bit alone and a bit just off. Not really, nothing bad, and nothing. I sure as hell wasn't going to take a drink or anything, but and I think the third or fourth night we were there having dinner in one of the restaurants, and the next table over, the people happened to hear or something that I didn't order any booze, or I said no thanks, I don't drink or whatever. And yeah, it was one of us at the next table, and it was that first time. That was 7 years ago. And it was enough. I was just instantly like, fuck, I'm cool. There's another one of us here. And I had concrete evidence of it. And it was enough, man. It was like, oh, I'm not alone. Cool. And I was fine. And I've been fine ever since, and haven't had that interaction any other time I've gone again, but it didn't matter. I had it once, and so I knew it was there.
Right.
And I know it was a reminder that it's always fucking there. There's one of us everywhere, you know. So it's I don't need it in my face anymore. It's there, and God knows the neighborhood I live in is basically the neighborhood that the Keating Center was in. And I fucking see us all the time, group of guys walking down 117th Street. I mean, the old Keating Center, there is a sober living place there now. It is, it's LBGTQYXYZW house now, the Riley house. I'm half joking. I do know the order doesn't matter. Yeah, so I mean, every once in a while I'll see a group of those guys or girls or whatever walking down the street, and I go, oh, yep, there's some of us.
Yeah, and the thing of it is, and like you mentioned that obviously Mexico thing when in Uncle John's funeral, and I've told that
Right.
story. But the whole point there was a guy that knew me from me secretarying the Thursday night Keating Center
Mm-hmm.
meeting, and I was I don't know, a little over 2 years sober. Certainly
Right.
not I wasn't going to drink, over
Right.
it was a tragic death, but I wasn't going
Mm-hmm.
to drink over it.
Right.
But man, it was nice, because you were off doing whatever, and it's not like
Yeah.
any other friends were there, and I didn't know of anyone there that was sober. It was just nice, I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
cool, one of us is there, and
Yeah.
when I've been, I've been pretty open about it. I mean, I don't go to a lot of meetings, and even when I'm out traveling, I'm like, even recently over the last couple of months, well, not couple of
Mm-hmm.
months since I've been here, but I'll take a look. I've got the meeting finder on my phone.
Right.
So when I was in northern Wisconsin, I think that was the one that was like the farthest. I think the closest meeting, because I'm in Niagara, Wisconsin, and I don't even think there was any. There might not even been any meetings in Iron Mountain, if I remember correctly. I could be
Mm-hmm.
wrong, but there was. I mean, it was like fucking 40 minutes away or something like that.
Right.
And I'm like, holy shit, But some of the ones are like, yeah, there's a little spread out, but there's a fucking meeting, you
Sure.
know.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. And 40 minutes away, it's there.
right.
If you got to go, if you needed that, it's there. And for me, that's comforting enough. I know it exists. If I've got to go, it's there for me.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, honestly, I there have been times that I'm like, you know what? It'd be cool to go to a meeting just because I've said that before. I like doing it. I like
Hmm.
going to meetings in different areas just to
Sure.
see and you get to meet people. But like 9 times out of 10, I look at it, I'm like, oh well, okay, it's at this time, and I was like, when I was in West Virginia Eastern Time Zone, so I'm working a 9 to 6, and it's like a 7 o'clock meeting.
Hmm.
It's doable,
Sure.
but I'm like, what am I going to eat? Because eating is kind of important in my life these days.
Hmm.
and obviously getting sleep. I'm kind of I'm kind of pissy when it gets to that. I'm like, I need to be fed and I need to sleep.
Right.
And I need a certain amount of both, and I'm in good shape. So I just didn't make it. When I was down there, but I will. Just again, it's knowing that, and I don't know, God, probably shit. This could have even be fucking 10 years ago, let alone 5 or 6. Who knows? I was down here for something, and Kathy and I were joking about whatever, and I don't know, whatever the case was. It was like, well, I don't know, worst case scenario. I'm like, I can just head out, kind of like a ha ha type of thing. She's like, well, where are you going to go around here? I'm like, I got a million friends all over the
Right.
fucking world. And
Yep.
she's like, well, that's a goddamn good point. And that's not the exact thing, but there was a point, and I just said that. I'm like, literally, we have, and that's not egotistical. It's a fucking fact.
Yeah.
We have friends everywhere. It doesn't matter
Yep.
where we are in the world. You can find a meeting, and even if you don't understand what they're talking about, you can figure it out,
Yeah. Exactly.
But
Yeah.
but to your point too. I mean, I don't know that I like being around, like, again, Cleveland. I love going back to Cleveland. I like going to the events. I like hanging out with all of our friends, all those sort of things. So but that's more life fellowship, except for, some of the fundraisers are obviously, more of the core recovery things. But one way or the other, I mean, it's again, to your point, it's an important, and it's a part, it's a part of my recovery, but not
Right.
even close to as big of a part as it was to begin
Right.
with, right?
Yeah.
Rightfully so.
Right. Yeah. It was far more necessary then. It's not quite as necessary now, which is good.
Right. Yeah. I think that's called growth, right? I think.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm gonna try to just pick one. Let's do one of these ones that I have no idea what it says. Okay.
All
Let's see if I
right.
can stumble about this. Okay. From God Grant Me. I didn't read this yet. Dog.
How's
not
that?
not dog. God.
What? Oh, well.
Dog Grant Me. Okay. No. God grant me. Talked about having times when we don't want help from our higher power. Have
Mm.
you ever had those moments since you've been sober where you just, where you felt, I suppose that comes down to taking our own will back, right? But I mean,
Hmm.
I don't know, time since you've been sober, since you didn't want to take into account of a power greater than yourself.
I don't think so. I really don't. No. No. I mean, it's again, second part of the first step, man. My life is unmanageable. I need these powers greater than myself to manage my life. And I know for a fact that my life is better because of it. So why the fuck would I want to manage my own shit?
Yeah, and you know what? I think it's kind of funny when as soon as I read that, I'm like, I think I wrote this down, not as a joke, but knowing that the answer is going to be the opposite, kind of like,
Right.
why the fuck wouldn't I?
Wow. No, that doesn't. No, that's just not right. Yeah, I wouldn't want that shit. No.
And every once in a while, it doesn't happen very often, but every once in a while, so in some of these books, and again, God grant me, keep it simple, whatever it is that
Hmm.
we're reading, even the 24-hour book, you read some of those things, I'm just kind of like, that could be taken two different ways, and I'm like, I don't like
Sure.
it this way, but I'm going to take it this way. It's more, I don't know. Maybe again, it's growth in the time that we've been sober. Some of these things become more open for interpretation to us, maybe because we
Hmm.
can kind of read into it. It's not as black and white as it used to be. But
Right.
I think that's why I wrote that one down. Because yeah, I mean, same thing. I'm like why? I don't think I'd be here, if I
Right.
had, because one little thing is going to turn into a lot of things, and I'm going to die, because
Yeah.
I'm going to drink myself to death. So.
Hmm.
Yeah, stupid God grant me. That's a stupid thing. God
The
grant me's
fuck's wrong with you?
God grant me's dumb.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is right below and keep it simple. This is kind of funny. This goes back to the lead a little bit. What kind of example do I set? This was from Keep It Simple.
Mm.
What kind of example do I set? Does my life reflect joy for life and recovery? So example do I set? But I like the last part too. Mike, does your life reflect joy and for life and recovery?
No. Well, wait. There's two different things there.
Right. So let's do the first part. What kind of example do I set? That's the first part.
Right. Pretty good, I hope. I think so. Yeah, I think I set a pretty good example. Joy for life. Settle down. Um,
Yeah, does your life reflect does your life reflect joy for life and recovery? People walk up and like, "Hi, Mike, you reflect joy."
no, I do not. I know I don't. But I'm pretty damn sure that my life does reflect the peace and serenity that comes from recovery. Yeah, definitely. No, joy for don't settle down, joy for life.
Settle the fuck down.
Yeah,
God damn it.
please.
Okay,
Right. What are you,
let's
fucking 6 months sober on a pink cloud? Shut the fuck up.
Okay, so first of all, God grant me's dumb and keep it simple. Settle the fuck down.
Thank you.
But I mean, first of all, what kind of example do you set? Here's the thing, and I don't think this is. It wouldn't have been egotistical for you to say that you set a good example because,
Mm,
if nothing else, and I think that's fair for either one of us to say,
mhm,
because I think that I'll say that for you, and I hope maybe you could say that for me,
mhm.
because okay, it's not just the time. I think it is the quality, the recovery
Sure.
that we had, the openness that we have. If nothing else, I mean, we're open and honest on here. All
Right.
these things we talk about, people, we're not
Mhm.
making up these goddamn stories
No.
as stupid or as ridiculous or maybe as heartfelt and great as they seem. They're all
Mm.
fucking real and they're
Yep.
all us. And we've let out the good parts and the bad parts and told the bad stories. And yeah, there was Nicole from Canada that we had on, I don't
Mhm.
know, like a year ago.
Sure.
She posted something on Instagram. It was again kind of a meme, but again, a post about recovery. But
Mhm.
it says, all of us tell the story, but the difference in me is I tell the bad part too, or something like that,
Sure.
or I'm not afraid to tell the bad part also, that sort of thing. And
Right.
I'm like, I like that,
Mhm.
because yeah, everyone can talk about all the good part, but I don't know. It's great. You yes, we are attracted to and kind of I don't know, follow the people in this program that have something that we want,
Mhm.
but I don't want to just be around a person that's like, oh yeah, everything like you said. Hi, I'm so and so. My life reflects joy.
Right. No, exactly. I mean, those are
I'd
clearly
be like,
those.
what?
There are people like that in the rooms, and that's great. And but those people do not attract me.
Right.
They never have. Right. The guys that have fucking attracted me, they're going, yeah, you know. Yeah, you could be real and yes, sometimes whatever. But guess what? Sobriety does not suck.
Right.
Right. Yes, I'm grumpy and I'm moody and I'm a fucking curmudgeon old man. That's what I am. And I'm happy and I'm comfortable with that. And I have peace and serenity in my grumpiness.
Right. But I mean, that could easily be separated. That's you and your life. That the fact that you're old and grumpy at times, or all
Right.
the time, whatever it is,
Yeah.
has nothing
Most of
to
the
do.
time.
But has nothing to do with your sobriety. You have good sobriety in spite of the fact that you're old and grumpy.
Right. Exactly. I have peace and serenity despite the fact that I am grumpy old man.
Yeah, yeah. That's just the. I made myself laugh. That was kind of funny. But no, I mean seriously, I think that because I know that just again watching people in your home group and things like that,
Mhm.
people respect you and for
Mm.
who you are, and I don't mean that in a weird way, but I mean they
Right.
do. They respect you as a sober member of this program.
Right.
You do set a good example, and I think we were taught to set that good example, and I think we
Hmm.
just living the lives that we do,
Right.
whether somebody's watching us or whether we know they're watching us or not.
Yeah.
I
I don't
am
give a
not
shit. Right.
yeah, I'm not worried about what I'm doing, wondering, God,
Yeah.
should I be doing this? Is somebody
Hmm.
watching?
Hmm.
But I think that's the key of
Well,
setting a
that's
good
just it.
example.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Right. What's the Mark Twain? Live a life that you won't be afraid of, whatever, somebody finding your parrot, something like
Right.
that.
Yeah, the town where the town parrot could even,
Right.
or tell everyone or blah blah blah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Right. Yeah. Which is it, including the curmudgeon stuff. Hey, yeah. I mean, for me, I think it's important because again, those were the guys I was attracted to. Yes, they were cracking up and yes, and whatever, but think about some of the older dudes when we first came in. It was like, they weren't all fucking dancing around and happy and fucking whatever. They were just comfortable.
Right.
in what they were. That's exactly what I fucking wanted. That's all I wanted, was to be comfortable and to be me. Thy own self be true.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing. I mean, and the people that are, and again, the joy people,
Mm-hmm.
the ones that, hi, I'm so and so, and I'm come be happy and joyous,
Right.
joyous with me and whatever. And I'm like, you want to talk about settle the fuck down? Yeah, you need to settle down. You go
Right.
take your fucking joy over there. That's
Right.
fine. I don't care. You do you, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't need all that. It's like,
Right.
some fucking, cocaine clown or something all over me, and I don't need that. Yeah, you're sober, but you're acting like a fucking coked up clown. Get away from me.
Right.
Get away from me.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I do. I like, yeah, comfortable and just whatever our version is of normal. Comfortable, normal, sober people.
Yep.
Bang. That's
Yep.
what I want. So,
Exactly.
all right.
Yeah,
So
those butterflies flying out of your ass. You want to keep them away from me, please?
yeah, exactly. So, you know what? Let's jump into these couple of news stories here. I think I got, depending on timing, I got a couple of other actual sobriety things. But so, these this first news story, and I don't know if this made national news, but I guess I'm going to find out when I tell you about it here in a minute.
Okay.
So this guy, did you hear about a kayaker from from Wisconsin who
Uh-huh.
faked his death?
You know what? I just heard about it today on the radio.
Okay, so and the reason you heard about it today is the end result of this.
Mm-hmm.
He came back and he turned
Right.
himself in.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's back in custody. But so here's this dude. First of all, and I found a couple more things today because again, it was like Monday or Tuesday. I think it was this week that he actually came back because he would
Mm-hmm.
oversee some fucking place. But
Right.
so this dude, okay, 45 years old. I just found out that he was married for
Mm-hmm.
21 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, 2 kids, 3 kids, I forget, but he's got kids. Okay,
Right.
faked his death. And basically what he the way they keep telling it, they're reading the story as it is, but it sounds so funny every time they give the details.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the way it's like, they're explaining how he faked his death. I mean, he's out kayaking, he flipped his kayak over, left his wallet or something, I don't know, whatever it was, these little things, like, I don't know. Okay, so his kayak flipped over, yeah, just this means I'm dead.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like, apparently had an electric bike. He was in Green Lake, which, do you know where Economawalk is? I think you would have went by there. You were at the distribution center out at the Target distribution center.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so that's Economawalk.
Okay.
And Green Lake is somewhere around there. The guy picked that lake apparently because one of the deepest lakes in Wisconsin, which I didn't know,
Mm-hmm.
but it was in that area. I think he's in Economawalk. So he hid this like electric biked
Right.
all the way to Madison. As
Mm-hmm.
it turns out, which because when I'm hearing this whole story, because it's like almost from the start, they knew this guy wasn't dead.
Right.
Because he had apparently taken, transferred money in the overseas accounts and this and that. There was like activity on a credit card or a bank account, all these different things. And I'm
Right.
like, this guy's just not smart enough to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Took out additional life insurance. So everyone's figuring, oh, okay, he's going to fucking leave his wife and kids. But, he wanted to leave him some money,
Sure.
so he cared. But
Mm-hmm.
as it turns out, he did this whole thing to go like be with some woman, you
Yep.
know, some woman that he met overseas. And as it turns out, the way they were reading this in the story today, was that it's like basically he goes through all this trouble, does all these different things, gets to whatever country it was,
Mm-hmm.
and basically said that he knew the minute he saw her in person that he made a bad decision. And I'm okay, ladies. If we have women listening to this podcast, which I
Mm-hmm.
know there's some,
Right.
it could happen both ways. You could walk up and
Sure.
see some fucking fugly dude. This guy obviously saw some fugly woman and is like, oh fuck, what did I do?
Right.
And I don't even know. I mean, how long he was gone for a couple of months, I guess, or something like that. But so all said and done, yeah, somehow the cops were in touch with him. And I don't know how they can fucking convince him to come back, but they did.
Mm-hmm.
But he is charged with he's out on like a $500 signature bond. That's number one, because he was telling him he didn't have the money to do whatever. He's going to defend himself and blah blah blah. But I think it's like a $10,000 fine or something like that with obstructing whatever. But I mean that. So here's the thing: the way that I look at this is that he first of all, faking your death is not a crime. You know, you could, if you want to fake your death, you could just pretend you just run away, and then that's technically not a crime.
All
But
right.
you know, when he took out additional life insurance, so that's leading into insurance fraud. He was about to,
Sure.
you know, at least the intent to commit insurance fraud, which is a no-no. But on top of that, I think they spent whatever the cost was, 10, 15, $20,000 in resources, you
Right.
know,
To
searching
look
for
for
this.
him. Right. Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
searching for this fuck. So, then the other thing too, and I don't know if they said he got an apartment already, and I'm like, where the fuck did this guy? How did he even have any money? You know? But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, apparently he took money and set it aside. I don't even know what he did for a living prior to that. But then, then the news story today. By the way, wife filed for divorce, filed the separation agreement, irreconcilable differences, this and that. And I'm like, they were again talking about it in the morning, so they're like, well, yeah, what did you think was going to happen, right?
Right.
You know, she's filing for sole custody, and I don't know how old the kids are. They must be teenagers, but
Yeah,
clearly
I've
not.
heard. Yeah. Yeah, I heard teenagers, they said today.
Okay, yeah, and
Yep.
I just didn't know how old. I don't even know if it's 2 or 3, but um, so, you know, and they were kind of joking about this, and then one of the guys who actually is in a relationship, not married anymore, but in a relationship, he's kind of like playing off this thing like he goes, no, no, no. He goes, if I came back, he goes, here's what I would do, and he's going through this whole thing, and I'm like, I don't know. I mean, okay, so you've been married before, I've been
Mm-hmm.
married before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. How do you walk back into this like, okay, so can I get a fucking do-over? I mean,
Right.
what
Yeah.
is what,
Just kidding.
yeah. Um, you know, I cared enough to try to take care of you, you know, life
Uh-huh.
insurance or whatever. But I mean, I know, yeah, there's another woman that I was going over there to live with, but
Right.
she's ugly. Like Chevy Chase on vacation. No, she's ugly, this fucking
Right.
Christy Brinkley. But
Mhm.
I just don't even I don't you can't come back with that. I mean, of course, divorce. I get that part of it, but here's I think the worst part, especially if his kids are teenagers. Again, how the fuck? How do you? I mean, we thought we had some trouble trying to
Right.
repair some relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather be a fucking raging alcoholic than have to deal with his mess. But
Right.
just another one. You know, we talked about that one. You know, when the guy tried to steal the guy's identity and killed his friend and all that stuff, and then you know now we got this fucking rocket scientist out there trying to fucking fake his death, and so he's gonna tip his kayak over, and that's gonna and leave it. I didn't even know. I'm just like
Yeah.
fucking terrible. But so you
Mm-hmm.
actually heard about it this week, huh? Or today?
Yeah, today. Yeah, because yeah, it just came back. Great. Yeah, yeah, he did that. I guess he rode his electric bike to Madison,
Hmm.
then got on a bus and went to Toronto, and then got on a plane and went to Paris,
Yeah.
and then went to Kyrgyzstan or someplace. You know, there's some Eastern European
Right.
place where this broad was at. Yeah, and got there. Yeah, and plus, you know, I'm sure he got to ecstatic stand or wherever the fuck he was, you know, rocket my pants stand. And yeah, looked around and went, well, shit, this isn't America. This is kind of crappy here. I don't
Right.
want to live here. What the hell, man? It's a third world country.
Right.
Yeah. So I'll just go back to Wisconsin and hey, baby, I'm back. Just call me Jesus because I've been resurrected.
Yeah, it just then I'm thinking to myself, and the reason I mean it was maybe laugh to begin with, but literally the reason I wanted to bring up the story in here, I'm like, this guy sounds like he may not be an alcoholic and he may not be an addict, but man, that's a that's some alcoholic behavior.
Yeah, that's definitely selfish and self-centered.
Yeah, it's just that I don't know. I just I couldn't even see there wasn't even there was no part of that plan where I'm like, oh, okay, well I get that part. Yeah, I realized it went a little bit wrong there, but
Mm,
there wasn't even one part of the plan which like that he got right or that
no,
even made any fucking sense.
that made sense from the get-go. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't try to understand morons. Makes my head
Right.
hurt.
But no, I just I wasn't sure because I knew it made national news, but I just wasn't sure how if you would have heard about that. But okay, so here's another one. So are you looking for any last minute gifts for let's say Chris this year for
uh,
Christmas?
I already told you I'm not doing Christmas, so no.
Okay. Are you looking for any last minute gifts for Chris at any point?
No, not
Okay.
last minute. Last minute for what? I don't plan on tipping my kayak over tomorrow.
Right. So
I've got a few minutes left. I don't have a last one yet.
okay, so here we go. Miller High Life's new perfume smells just like a dive bar. And they put dash in a good way. And I looked at this, I'm like, because there's been a lot of Onion headlines on my Instagram feed lately,
Right.
and I've always loved the Onion. I really do. I think it's
Uh-huh.
fucking funny. You know, it's based on the Madison, or at least it was. I think they
Yeah.
were bought out, but it started in Madison.
It
But
did. Yep.
so yeah, so here's the start of the article. Have you ever thought, man, I really wish I could smell exactly like my favorite dive bar?
What do you mean? Wish I did.
Right. But it's like Tuesday, Miller High Life announced its plans to release a brand new perfume that mixes all the essential scents of a neighborhood dive bar. Now, it's called, just hang on one second,
Yeah.
Miller High Life Dive Bar Fume. Okay. This is, hang on one second. It went down this, captures every familiar dive bar scent from the satisfying crack of a freshly opened beer to the comforting, savory taste of classic bar snacks. Okay, so you spent some time in a bar, have you, Mike?
Yeah, a little bit.
I have too. I don't want any woman that I'm with smelling like what I used to do at a bar. So, but this is the thing, captures every familiar dive bar scent. Where's the vomit? Where's the
Right.
smelly dude in the corner? Where's the
Yeah.
fucking nasty whore that's at the end of the bar? I'm like, where's this? I'm like, freshly
Right.
cracked beer and comforting, savory taste of classic bar snacks.
All right. So pickled eggs and stale cigarettes and
Right? Yeah, cigarettes. I forgot about that. Yeah,
right.
that was the years ago type of thing. But I just seriously, I thought this was a fucking joke, but it's not. And it's in a little pump bottle, little perfume bottle, with the Miller High Life logo on it.
It's
And
not a
I'm
little
like,
keg.
no, it's the picture that they're showing is a square, like a square perfume bottle. Got a keg. See, you should be in marketing, my friend.
Well, yeah, I know.
Yeah, I
Clearly,
know.
there's no alcoholics on this team.
Right? Yeah, that would have been, or have it actually in a fucking beer bottle or a can or something like that.
Right.
That's like a keg. I think that. Yeah, goddamn. Yeah, let's get on the phone with Miller because at least they got a fucking bar smelling perfume. But I'm
tap
like,
on the top of it to dump this goo out.
yeah, it's just again, I don't understand how anyone would want to smell like a fucking bar. I just don't.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, I know. And the problem is, for a fucking fact, there's going to be plenty of people lined up to buy that shit. Which is,
I got me some of that their bar perfume.
Bar perfume. Honey, you smell like a bar. I love you.
Well,
yeah. I was just gonna say maybe that maybe that is how you attract your favorite alcoholic, right? All right, so those are my two news stories. So
right.
ladies and gentlemen, run out and get your get your bar perfume.
Perfect for a stocking stuffer,
right?
Or a sweat sock stuffer.
Okay. God, look at that. I wrote down how important is fellowship to recovery. I got that one. God damn it. Let's just scratch that one off. I sometimes have repeats, as you can tell. All right, so from 24 hours. Oh, look at this. We go back to I think this kind of goes back to it too. This I think was from this week. What is the quality of my sobriety? This is from 24 Hour Book. Then this many times it's important for the newcomers to see the old timers have many years, but then comes the quote, if they can do it, I can do it. So let's start back to the beginning. And I think we talked about this a little bit before, but the quality of our sobriety. Should we just jump the gun on that and say, we think it's okay? Pretty good quality?
Yeah,
okay.
Definitely. Yeah. Again, yeah. I mean, we kind of already talked about it, not the joy, but just, I'm fucking comfortable. You want what I have? Come out and get it. Do this shit that I do.
So, and obviously talked about the same thing that many times it's important for newcomers to see the old timers, obviously have the years, because then obviously they can see it could be done. But this goes back to, and I don't remember if we talked about this on here, but every time I see this quote or hear this statement, it's a cringy one for me always. If they can do it, I can do it. Not necessarily I can do it, but if the person that always says, if I can do it, anyone can. That always bothers me. But
Right.
I mean, if somebody's looking at it, if somebody is saying, if I'm Bill Newcomer and I walk in the rooms and I'm like, okay, that dude Mike over there, he's scary looking, kind of ugly, a little grumpy, but he's got some, from a sober side of things, got good quality sobriety.
Uh-huh.
I can see this kind of guy that's got what I want, and
Mm-hmm.
if he can do it, then I can. Okay,
Right.
so is that like the other way around? I don't like it when somebody up at a like leading in something says, "Hey, if I
Mm-hmm.
can do this, anyone can," which I've
Right.
always thought is a load of horse shit. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Am I looking at it wrong? If somebody comes up to you and like, are they putting you up on a pedestal? Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? If they're like, oh, he can do it, I can too.
Right. No, don't put me on a fucking pedestal. Um,
Never.
never. No. I'm equal. Right. Exactly the same level as everybody else. Yeah, I mean, hopefully, somebody can, somebody walk again. When we looked at the old guys when we walked in,
Right.
same thing. It wasn't if he can do it, I can do it. It was is he's doing it, I can do it too. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's I think it's important to see people with quality sobriety. Absolutely. It goes back to that lead, the girls up there fucking struggling, man. I mean, if that was my first meeting, that shit, I don't know. I mean, I was like straight off the street and checking things out. I'd be like, fuck that. Um,
And that's a good
yeah,
point.
right. Yeah, I mean, being an example is important. Absolutely. Showing that it can be done. Absolutely. Those are important things. But, not, look at me. Aren't I fucking wonderful? Yeah, no, I'm just doing it, man. It's possible to do. Yes. This grumpy old man, if, that straight dude over there looking, tight high haircut um can do it. Yeah, absolutely. They're comfortable, they're relatively happy, and they're not fucking struggling. They're not fighting anymore. They've surrendered and they're fairly happy. That's all it fucking, yeah, shit, give me some of that.
Give me some of that. And you know what? Here's the thing that I just thought about, and just like to kind of backtrack with the whole thing, like what I mean, and the reason it makes me cringe a little bit, in case,
Hmm.
just for anyone listening, just so I'm explaining myself, when somebody they're leading a meeting, they're telling their story, doing their share, whatever it is, and
Hmm.
they tell about the story of woe, and now they've got some time. It doesn't even
Right.
matter what it is, but they've been sober a bit. And when people are up there and they're like, oh yeah, and if I could do this, anyone can do this.
Hmm.
I think I don't like that, and the reason I don't is because there's people out there, like you said, Mike, people that just off the streets and this and that. Maybe you've got some guy or some lady that is just relapsed and relapsed and relapsed.
Hmm.
And they're like, well, fuck me. That something's wrong with me then, because
Right.
I can't do it.
Hmm.
I just did, you just told me my story, but I can't do it. So I think it's deflating. And I think it's better to say that, like I was thinking about it as you were just saying that the guys that we were able to, again, follow and come across.
Hmm.
I don't remember any of them saying that. I remember
Right.
those guys they just showed us, this is what we do. It's kind of like, putting their arms around us going, here, I'm going to show you what we do.
Hmm.
And it's the same thing that goes back to nobody ever saying to us that you're never going to drink again. We're going to teach you
Right.
why you won't have to.
Right.
And Joe, with the whole cake recipe, he
Hmm.
didn't nobody fucking threw a box of cake at us and hit us in the head and says, make a fucking cake.
Right.
They're like, yeah, you got to follow the recipe, but we're going to walk through this. We're going to read all these
Hmm.
pages. We're going to
Right.
walk through this recipe. We're going to make this cake in 164 pages. And then you're going to know how to make a fucking cake, but you're
Right.
still going to have to refer to the directions.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're still gonna have to crack the eggs and stir the shit in
Yeah.
and
Do
right.
the
Yeah.
work. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Do the fucking work.
Do the goddamn work.
Don't be so fucking lazy. Do the work. That meme came up recently, and I forgot to copy it down. And I was going to post that again. I got some fucking haters a year ago or whenever it was when I posted that. People were like, that's fucking rude. And this, I'm like, fuck you. You know,
Yep.
that's rude. I didn't say that, but I mean, you want to hear rude, but no, it is. Don't be fucking lazy. Do the work. It's just like anything else. You know, if shit isn't going right, then what are you doing?
Right. Yeah.
And it's not being
walk
mean.
in the other direction and slow the fuck down.
Yeah, exactly.
Do it correctly.
It's not being mean telling somebody to do the fucking work. I mean, that's how it doesn't with anything, from elementary school all the way through, the whatever fucking job you have. If you don't do the work, you're not going to get the result. It doesn't fucking matter. It just doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Right. You don't do the work, you're not getting the paycheck.
Right. Exactly. Or you're not getting the pay. You're not getting the end result there. So fuck y'all. Don't do the work. So real quick, you want to hear, since we've been speaking about old men stuff, and I wrote this down because it just made me laugh. So I'm kind of a chapstick fiend. I always have chapstick with me and blah blah blah. So I was working the other day, a couple of days ago, I think, and I've got where usually my desk is against the wall, but when I'm working, I turn it around a little bit because I got my monitors and stuff and little thing. I need more room. So I've got to turn the other way. So my desk is kind of facing a window, so facing where the dresser is, this big dresser in here. And I don't know what it was. Whether I was, while I was working, got up for break, got back from break, whatever. And I took my chapstick out of my pocket, took the top off, and the top slipped out of my hand. And it, it's like bounce, 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 hits my desk, bounce, bounce, bounce on the floor. And then it starts rolling. And I hear it roll, and then you can hear it hit something. And I'm like, that just went all the way to the back of the fucking dresser on the floor. And I'm just like, Jesus fucking Christ. So, and again, here's me, fucking old guy. I'm like, oh God. I didn't even want to go down on my fucking knees to look where it is, right?
Right.
So, and I got to move my desk a little bit, and, because I got all my shit there. So I move my desk, and I can't even see it. I got to grab my phone, turn my light on. I could see it. And I try to reach under it a little bit. I'm like, I would have to move this, reach down, lay down, stretch out. I'm like, fuck this. I took my chapstick, I threw it in the garbage, and I grabbed the new one.
Yep.
And I'm like, I don't need the cap. Whatever the chapstick, probably, I think it wasn't even, I don't know, a week old or whatever it is. I don't give a fuck. I just threw it out.
Buck and a half. It's worth it to just throw that fucking shit away and get down on the floor. I'm with you.
Yeah, and you know what? I've got enough success in my life where I can buy 3 chapsticks at a time. In the pack.
Ooh,
I know.
Yeah. Look out!
I'm big timing it. now. I ain't gotta live that way anymore where I run out of chapstick.
I can buy me a 3-pack.
Yeah. So for any of out there, if you're new, at 14 plus years, you could buy yourself a 3-pack of chapstick. But no, seriously, I always have. Worst case, I knew I would have had one. I always have a backup, and I've been out someplace, and if I've lost it or whatever, stop at a gas station, I have to buy one.
Sure.
But if I'm anywhere around, I got my whole duffel bag with my medicine cabinet in it.
Right.
But yes, literally as I do it, I'm like, man, I got to write this down. This is good old guy shit, because literally it's just like, I'm not even fucking trying. And I mean, what am I going to do? Put chapstick in my pocket with no top on it?
Right.
I'm going to put chapstick on fucking lint, and God only knows what's, I've got clean pants on, but still.
Sure. Right. Well, you go get a baggie and put the chapstick in the baggie and then put the baggie in your pocket. Right. Yeah. $1.50. I'm getting another one. I bought a 3-pack. I got 2 left.
Well, and here's how large I'm living. Okay. I didn't even pay attention to how much I paid for the 3-pack. I have no idea. No idea. I'm just like, I'm getting me that 3-pack. Yeah. Yeah. I just bought it. Didn't have to ask the price. I'm just buying it, bitches.
That's right.
Living large. I got a 3-pack of chapstick. Oh, well, I don't know. You got anything else? I didn't get anything else.
That's it. No, hell no, man. I mean, you want an example of how this thing works? There it is.
Wait, the fact that I can throw away a chapstick?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Living large. Life on that's life on life's terms right there. Write that down, people. All right, man. I think we're done. So I guess it's your turn.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening to another episode of Sober Not Mature. As always, be kind to each other, be good to each other, go out and do something nice for somebody else this week, and don't tell anybody you did it. Live large with those chapsticks. All right. Now, from the bottom of my heart to the depths of my soul, from the beginning of time till the ends of the earth, always and eternally, fuck you. And now it's time, kids. It's time for you to fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off till you get to a gate with a sign on it saying, you cannot fuck off past here. Climb over that gate. Dream the impossible dream and keep fucking off forever.
I was taking a drink of coffee when you said live large in the chapsticks. I started laughing, I almost spit my fucking coffee out. I'm like, you bastard.
Nice. Yep.
Fucking bastard. But yeah, that's me. That's me living large on my chapsticks. So but all right, yeah. You know what? This I gotta say this with all sincerity. This is a fucking good work tonight.
It was something.
Yeah, it was something. Yeah, just you have to. Anyone out there too, go on alcoholfree.com and read the look up our podcast. Just Google search Sober Not Mature alcoholfree.com. If you ever want to get a laugh, because there's these every episode, it's based on my description a little bit because they pull from that, but it's always an AI description of how our episode is. And Mike and I are always referred to as humorous and jovial and whatever. You want to get the
jovial.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the word was used in there at least once.
God.
It just fucking makes me laugh. It's usually by Sunday or Monday of every week by the time by the time the episode is put up there, and especially if the transcript is up there, sometimes I'll pull it a little bit more. But anyhow, it cracks me up because it's always like, if you want to see the laughter and the serious side, they talked about this, get serious about that. Oh, by the way, an episode a few weeks ago talked about you and your ex-wife and how important your family was at Thanksgiving or whatever. There was they
What?
missed. It was me when I was talking about Dawn and Corey's house. They're like, oh yeah, Mike talked about his family when he was visiting, and I'm like, yeah, okay, so Mike gets credit for for that family. I'll let Dawn know that it was Mike, but
yeah.
But yeah, anyhow, it's just, if anyone wants to get a good laugh, it just makes me fucking. I look so forward to it. It's like watching reading a new little joke every week. It just cracks me up. But
nice. So So AI is not perfect. Is that what you're saying? And we still have a chance as humans to do something with this world.
Yeah, I mean, not perfect, but I'll tell you what, they do a nice job. It just makes me laugh because they put us in such a good light, and that's number one. That's number one. But then they just refer to us all the time, joking and laughing and humor, and which it is. I mean, that's kind of what we do, but it just it's just funny to me. I don't know.
All right.
I would never describe either one of us as they describe us. It just seems too too fucking hokey.
Jovial.
Hey. All right. So other than that, I love you, brother.
I love you too.
We'll talk soon.
We shall.
All right, man. Bye.
Bye. And now it is time for you to fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off until you get to a gate with a sign on it saying you cannot fuck off past here. Climb over that gate, dream the impossible dream, and keep fucking off forever.